Greetings. I'm waiting for people to get in here. So you watching this on the playback? It's just me in here right now, So I'm just waiting for a couple people to get on up in here. Then I'm gonna start the conversation because everybody gotta come in and say their greetings and salutations, and everybody gonna be like Happy New Year. So I don't want to be interrupted when I'm speaking, But Happy New Year to y'all. Hey, Sasha, you always the first one. Hey, little sis, how are you? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well. Did you go to the end of the year? Let me go get a straw. Oh, okay. Did your auntie go? I haven't seen her. I've seen her. I haven't spoken to her. God's will, I'll be there. Be there when. Okay. I have to check in with her and see how it was. I kind of know how it was, but check in with her to see how it was for her. Anyway, hey everybody. Hey all y'all in the background. Watching and not saying nothing. Y'all some spies. Y'all some spies. So, good morning or afternoon. Happy 2026. Happy New Year. She said, at the convention, God's will, I'll be there. Okay, sis, which one? I don't know. Like, that's what I'm asking you. I don't know. You saying the convention. Which one? So good morning. Happy 2026. Today is January 1st, and it is the first video for EFP Media. Here we explore faith, wellness, personal growth with journaling. I'm going to work on some, journal prompts for January, just to kind of put that out there as well. And you all will be able to do the same thing you did in December. Go to gwl.com, growingwithlegend.com, and, download it for free, and you'll have access to use it, So I started the month off strong doing the journaling, and then towards the end of the month, there were days that I was missing for the most part, but overall we did pretty good. I'm almost finished with my journal, so I have to go purchase another one sometime this year. The last video I did when I was talking about like your taxes and doing DoorDash and all of that stuff, it was really good. It actually felt good to talk about those things. So I wanted to come on and kind of give you all a summary of the things that I look into with being a full-time employee, doing and having 3 side hustles, which is YouTube, DoorDash, and Growing with Legend. There are plenty of things that you could possibly consider when filing your taxes if you are an entrepreneur, independent contractor, and all of these things. So I kind of just wanted to have a conversation. Please note, I am not a tax preparer. I don't work for the IRS. I am just a regular girl in a normal world, trying to figure out things along the way, and anything that can assist me when it comes to taxes. I try to know as much as I can, because sometimes I would rather receive nothing but owe the IRS $0. So this is not a video where I'm telling you how to manipulate and lie and scheme the IRS to get, a huge refund. I'm not really concerned about receiving a huge refund. Throughout the years, I have received a refund, and the refund money that I get is usually put off to the side, or either I cut down on a lot of debt and I just repurpose the money in my life and continue to live off of my annual salary that I do anyway. So this is not a video where I'm telling you guys that, oh, if you do this you'll get 1,000. No, 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 no. I'm just letting you know that I would rather not owe the IRS. Okay. So if I can do that, that's what I'm going to do. So if there's things that I can use as a, tax write-off, I'm going to do that. So that way I can minimize what I have to owe them. But if I do owe them, that's fine. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the video. So this video is going to be very practical. And this is very useful, not just if you don't have a business. It's just going to be very informative. So you definitely want to save this for later, especially if like Sasha, I know you're young and, you haven't started this part of your life yet, but it's coming, so you would want to be aware of these things as well for the future. Okay. So like I said, this video is going to be very practical. I have my notes here. So we're going to get right into it because it's going to be very informative. If you have any questions, you can just put it in the chat. If I don't know the answer, I can show you where to go get the answer. Okay. I can point you in the right direction. So I wanted to discuss having a full-time job and then also having side hustles. And being that January is here, many of us are going to be getting our W-2s from our jobs. And then, when you are working with DoorDash, or you have a Shopify website, which is what I use for Growing with Legend, these places are going to be preparing you an I-9, and that is what you're going to be using now. When it comes to Shopify, when you pay for your products, taxes is already added into that, and it's already deducted and is paid directly to Shopify. And then, Shopify take out the percentage for that. In addition to that, every month I have to pay Shopify for all of the shipments that I do, in addition to the base fee of them just hosting my website. So anyway, I wanted to just walk through some of the things that I track as tax write-offs for someone who I work full-time, and I work in the office, and I'm hybrid. So I work in the office and I also work from home. I do DoorDash, and I became monetized on YouTube last year. So some of the things that I have been using on YouTube, I can now use as a tax write-off because I'm being paid by YouTube. So now they'll be preparing me, I believe, an I-9. And that way I can use the things like my phone bill, this phone, this ring light, this chair that I had to buy this year, my light bill, my internet bill, my rent, which will go all through these things. And then also the skincare brand that I've had since 2020. And I've been using that as well. And then the business is not as lucrative as I would want it to be, but it's getting there. However, there are things that I use for that. And I'm going to just go through these items and help you. So the thing is that why this is important and why it matters is that a lot of people think like, I don't make that much, so it doesn't matter. And the truth is, any income that you make is important. Okay. It helps you out. You know, I tease myself a lot. I think it's funny that I earn like 30 cents a day on YouTube, or like $1 a day, or $2. And then when some of you all bless me through YouTube, they take a percentage. So that'll increase it by a few dollars or whatever. But I I'm just very humble about it, and I appreciate it. So anyway, I tease myself about it because it's small amounts of money, but you have to start somewhere, right? And it just keeps me humble at the same way. But stewardship doesn't start when you're making a lot of money. It starts with the awareness and responsibility initially. So though I'm only making $1, $2, 30 cents, 69 cents on certain videos, the point is that you are earning something, and that is a benefit. You're earning something. So therefore, it's a benefit for you. And I tell y'all all the time, I be joking, but when you out here doing everything on your own, every little bit helps, okay? Every little bit helps. So don't be coming around here giving me $100. Talk about, I know you don't celebrate Christmas, or here you go. I can't take that now. Just give me the $100 and don't say nothing about no Christmas. Just give me the money, okay? So with that, every side hustle you have and everything you see, the IRS still sees it as income. So when you're doing DoorDash, they're not taking their taxes out. So that is something you have to be responsible for, either while you're earning your DoorDash money or at the end of the year when you file your taxes. You have to account for any taxes that you would have had to pay on the dollars that you're earning through DoorDash. If you don't file, then you get in big trouble with the IRS in the years to come, if once they catch up with you. Another thing is that, sometimes we often hear people say you're lying on your taxes. What that means in short, in some regards, is that people include things as a tax write-off, but they don't have any proof that those things actually happen or exist. So this is the reason why people are oftentimes telling you to keep your receipts. When you're using gas to travel to a drop off UPS packages or anything like that, when you're traveling to hand out business cards, when you are anything that you have to do related specifically to your business, you want to hold on to your receipts. You just want to do that. So if you bought a card specifically for your business, specifically to do DoorDash, you can consider that as a potential tax write-off. So let's get right into the things that you can consider. So the first one I'm gonna say is DoorDash. Now, just keep in mind, because I work annual, I have a job, I get a salary, I get a W-2. I am paying taxes every year, through my job, okay? And then the things that I do outside of that, I have to be responsible for. So this is the purpose of me being very detailed and just certain things in my life I just don't play around about, because I don't have time to be playing. So going into DoorDash expenses. Now, I started doing DoorDash around July of this year. So though my car typically lets me know when I need an oil change, and on average, I'm doing an oil change about twice a year, along with some other services that come along with it. So therefore, I can only, include the services and stuff on my vehicle starting in July of 2025 up until December of 2025, obviously. So when you use DoorDash or any type of delivery work, if you're working for Walmart Spark, Amazon, anything like that, your vehicle is a major part of your business. So therefore, I really try to track my mileage only when I'm delivering. Because I work from home 3 days a week, my son's school is within our community. I don't use a lot of mileage on my vehicle just for my personal usage. A lot of my usage on my vehicle, the wear on my tires, the mileage is coming from me doing DoorDash. Yes, I go to my mom's house. That's quite a bit of ways, but I'm not going there every day. Okay, so therefore, I strive to track the mileage weekly or daily when I am doing my deliveries. The next thing is parking fees related to deliveries. So one of the reasons why I don't do DoorDash downtown is because there's parking issues. And also there's a lot of NC State is downtown. So it's a lot of college dorms, and I ain't got time for all of that. Okay. However, if you live in a place where you can't escape that and you have to pay for parking, even if it's for like 2, 3 minutes, you have to pay or you'll get a ticket. You want to save those, you want to save those receipts as well. Another thing is tolls. So once again, I live in a place where I don't have to deal with tolls on a daily basis. I know in places up north and some of southern states, you have to deal with tolls. So if you run through a toll or if you pay a toll, ask them for a receipt. Or if you have, like here in North Carolina, we do have tolls. However, that toll fee is mailed to you in the mail. So that serves as a receipt because it's a bill and they're sending it to you and they'll say you owe $1.20. And man, let me tell y'all, one year, I just kept ignoring them. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Them people done shut everything down. I couldn't even get my car. And then I had quit. I think I had quit my job. I was, whew, child, slow. So anyway, don't do that. But however, save the receipt and a portion of your phone bill. So your phone bill, obviously, you're using your data to do the deliveries and stuff like that. You have to use your cellular service to call the either DoorDash or the customer. So these are things that you could be using as your tax write-off. Your phone bill is going to be one of those things that throughout this conversation, that you're going to see that it's going to be a reoccurring tax write-off eligibility. Once again, these are possibilities. These are possibilities. And I recommend you work with a tax preparer. I am not that. Okay. But when I go to my tax girl, my tax lady, because she ain't my girl, she old enough, she could be my mama. I went to school with her children. But anyway, when I go to her, I come in there and I give her all the numbers. So she ain't got to sit here and be lying and putting in stuff that ain't real. Okay. Because I don't want the IRS coming for me. I ain't got time for that. So most people choose the standard mileage method, which is key in consistency. So especially when you are tracking your miles, please be consistent with that and keep your gas receipts. Okay. If you choose an actual vehicle expense instead, so therefore you can either do, what you can either do, and I usually ask her which would be better. But because I haven't been tracking my mileage, I can't use my mileage as something as a tax reduction because I haven't been doing it. So what I have been doing is keeping up with my gas receipts. So I have an envelope in my glove department and I just put all of my receipts for gas in there. When you go get gas and they say, do you want a receipt? You say yes. Okay. And it's weird because they be looking at you like, okay, like it's so interesting because people really do be looking at you like, oh, okay. But anyway, so your gas and then you have your oil changes and any repairs. So over the summer, before going to the Southeastern Convocation in July, my battery was out in my car. And I realized this while out in the middle of summer with my baby in the heat, and my car kept telling me, stop driving and let the car run for like a few minutes. So I did that and we were out, I think we were in a parking lot or something like that. And I was just like sitting there and the car was just running. And then after like 30 minutes, I'm like, yo, my car is not, I couldn't do nothing with it. So I had to get a brand new battery, which was like 600 and something, was it? I think the battery was like $300 and something in addition to some other things that they had to do. I went ahead and let them do it. One thing about me, I know, I do spend a lot of money in regards to maintenance on my car. But once again, as a single woman, I'm not trying to be on the side of the road. And I'm not about to get a new car every time. So I take care of my stuff. Like my Honda Accord, I kept taking that car to the dealer to do the oil changes because I just like to take care of my stuff and that's just how I am. So Therefore, I look at it that way. Yes, could I go somewhere cheaper? Yes, can I save money? Yes. But the one thing about me, I'm not trying to be on the side of the road with my child in any type of weather conditions talking about, oh, I got to call AAA. No, I mean, I really need to learn how to learn how to change a tire, to be honest. And I know it's not hard, but I need to learn how to do it. So anyway, any repairs, I also had to do tires. So this year I had to buy, I had bought 4 brand new tires. That was about 500 and something dollars. So that, now insurance. Okay, insurance is something else that you have to consider. So this is a part of the business portion, because you're gonna have insurance on your vehicle. No state, I don't think in the US, allows you to drive a vehicle without insurance. So you need that. And then your registration and depreciation. So we already know that once we buy a vehicle, it depreciates. No way around that. However, in the state of North Carolina, every year I have to pay taxes on my vehicle, and I also have to pay for the registration fees and the sticker on the back of the car. So that is an expense for me. And mind you, I'm saying expenses, and we'll talk about that later, but I'm using the word expenses. So, registration and depreciation of your vehicle, any taxes that you're paying on your vehicle. I don't think you can include property tax. That don't sound right. But if any of the people in the background that know if what I'm saying to be true or not, let me know. So that is that. And then you can't do both. So what I'm saying is that you can't do you can't get a deduction for your mileage and then also get a deduction for the gas, the oil changes, the repairs, the tires, the insurance, the registration. You have to pick one. All right. So right now I am choosing the gas, the oil changes and stuff like that. I don't know which one is better. The only reason why I don't use the method of mileage is because I'm not consistent enough in tracking the mileage. Hey, A Brown. And tracking the mileage. Okay. So the next part is, so next we're going to get into your phone and your internet. So because I use my phone and internet for DoorDash, YouTube, and my skincare business, I can track business use percentage. So that includes my phone bill, my data plan, and my internet service. So for an example, if 60% of my phone is used for business related services, I can deduct that portion. Now, and it is because I'm on live. I talk to you guys. I have it documented, because they can, if the IRS ever chose to investigate me, they can go to my YouTube channel and go to the live, and they'll see that, oh, she does go live. And if you think them people at the IRS don't got time to go through everything and make sure you talking about what you talking about. Okay. So I have it there. That's proof. Okay, that I use my phone for YouTube. But not only that, I use my phone to track my orders. So I tell you guys all the time, you don't have to email me, text me, send me a IM, send me you don't have to send me nothing. When you go to the website and you do anything, when you buy anything, I get an immediate notification that you have made your purchase. I get an email and I get a notification from the Shopify app. So therefore I get that notification. That is something that I use my phone for. So those are the things that I can use as a deduction or potential deduction or tax write-off on my taxes. So the next thing is my home office. Now, granted, it ain't all perfect, but it's a little piece of something. Okay, so I have a chair, I have a desk, I have a keyboard, I have monitors, and I have a designated area in my home where I sit and make content. I sit and do work. I sit and ship orders. So these are the things that when you are considering and what makes you not to be a liar, is when you actually have a home office and it qualifies for things. So what qualifies a home office? It's used regularly. How many times do I get on YouTube and you guys see this same background? I might be facing this way, or I might turn the camera around and you see the two white doors. Okay, so hi Janabelle. So you have, it's something that you're used regularly. It's something that is used exclusively for the specific businesses or the things that you are claiming on your taxes. And then it's used for your business purposes only or majority. And then you may, so therefore, if you have that, you can qualify for a home office deduction potentially. So I use my space and I use my home for, I use my home for product making, content creation, administration work, inventory, and shipping. Okay. Yes, if I had like a little, a little she shed or a little garage, I would have like a whole system set up. I have shipment boxes, I have inventory, I have products ready to just be packaged and put in a box and gone about its business. I have mixing bowls, and we're going to get into all of these things that I have to run a business. Okay. So the things that I include are my rent. I don't have a mortgage. So with me having rent, I have an expense and not a liability. That is key. Okay. Utilities, internet, home insurance, because in my apartment complex and in many apartment complexes in the United States, you need to have home insurance in case something happens. And little did I know, a couple of days ago, I'm walking outside and the neighbors on the third floor end up having a fire in their apartment. They're running out talking about call 911. I had to call 911. They don't know I called because I was getting in my car to go on about my business. But the point is that I said to myself, you know what? I was so at peace because I said I pay for home insurance. So whatever in my apartment is not there when I get back, it will be okay. I was not worried. I was on the phone with the 911, and she's like asking me all of these questions. I said, girl, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't know. They was running she said, did you see flames? I said, yes, I did. Yes, I did. But luckily it was small. And I haven't seen the lady vehicle out since that day. So I hope she's okay. She had some people over to her house. So, they always come over. They be coming over using our pool and all of this stuff. Child, please. Anyway, moving right along. So home insurance and then repairs related to the space. So because I rent, I have maintenance, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you had a mortgage and some of the things that you may have needed to get repaired in your home is related to you having a business, then this is something that you would want to consider. But once again, the space in your home has to be very, very well defined. It means that anyone can walk in here and use their common sense to say, hey, Elvira does work in this area. And that's exactly what it looks like for me. Elvira does work in this area, and this is where I be at if I'm creating content, looking at orders, or even just working from home for my 9 to 5. The next thing that I have here is for the Growing with Legend for the skincare business. So this one is the most important because I track every single product related expense. So let's get into the ingredients and the supplies. So in the previous video, I shared with you guys that when I buy my inventory, I typically buy a lot, majority, 90% of my inventory online because I get a digital receipt, which alleviates less responsibility for me and All I have to do is type into, and I buy everything from my work, my business email address, not my personal email address. So that way I can see it all in one place and I don't have to go through my personal email to figure things out. So let's go through some of the ingredients that I have. None of these are secrets. You can go onto the website and see that I use these ingredients in my products because I don't keep those things from you all, especially being that these are products that you will be putting on your skin. Okay, we don't want no secrets when it comes to something that people are putting in their bodies or on their skin. So some of the supplies that I have is mango and shea butter. I have oils such as rose hemp, grapeseed, and jojoba oil. You have fragrance oils, which is the fragrance that you get when you purchase. I have preservatives, emulsifying wax, aloe vera gel. I also have container jars and bottles, which can be very pricey, especially when you're using glass. I have labels and stickers that I have to purchase through Avery. So in order to make it look like a real product made by a real business, you need to make sure that you have decent labels that are clear, understanding, and people can read and know exactly what they're getting. And then packaging materials, so boxes, styrofoam, stuffing and stuff, the bubble wraps, the tape, the shipping labels, all of that stuff plays a part, and it all costs money. It costs money. When and I don't mean this to be just rude, but I have to be direct. When you are purchasing from someone, and not just me, anybody within any organization that is considered a small business, every dollar counts for them. Every single dollar counts for them. So when you have someone, the sister in the church, she made a beautiful cake for me, not only for my birthday, but she also made one for Legend's birthday. Every dollar counts. She's doing this from home. She needs to use her electricity. She has to use her, her supplies, her ingredients, her time away from her children. So every dollar counts. When I'm making shea butter, I got to use my time, my energy, time away from my child. So everything counts. So when you are purchasing from a small business, don't look at it as the dollar. Look at it that the time the person had to put in, because we as small businesses, we are not machines. Okay, we are not machines. And when you see someone that has over 20 different products on their website, like one of the sisters, she has over 20 something different products. She's one person. I don't know if she has a team or not, but she's the Humble Hands sister, Shauna K. She has this homemade soaps and stuff like that. You know how I tell you guys all the time, you know how expensive it is to make soap? It is not easy. And it takes a long time to make, because once you make the loaf of soap and then they cut it into slices, you have to let that soap sit. Sometimes for 14 days. It's called curing. So like for me with my shea butters, I only have to cure it for 24 hours. Imagine making a loaf of soap and you make it today and I can't even sell it to you or ship it to you until 14 days later, because the soap has to cure. And then on top of that, this is a product that someone is putting on their skin. So you don't want to skip steps, because next thing you know, you could be liable and be sued for something that happens to a person if you don't do the things that needs to be done. So I just wanted to share that for those of you that, you may not be an entrepreneur, you may not work for yourself. And when you see entrepreneurs giving you their prices and stuff like that, you may look at it in a way that is not necessary. And even then, like, especially when it comes to our brothers and sisters in the church, like, just support them, and give to them, and so that you can be blessed, so most entrepreneurs understand, and they understand the hustle, and they may make a joke or two, but they do understand the hustle, and they understand the time and effort that goes into making and running a business, so they get it. But those of us who do work a 9 to 5 and may not run a business at all, sometimes we can think that certain price points may be a little too expensive for the product that we're getting, but you can't just look at it as the product. You have to look at it as the time and the effort that goes into creating the product and then providing it to you as in a finished product. Okay, so then equipment. So now I'm just that was just what I shared was just the ingredients and the supplies. So now let's get into equipment. So for GWL, I need mixing bowls, I need a scale, I need a hand mixer or a KitchenAid is what I have. I need a thermometer, measuring tools, storage bins, shelving used for inventory. All of these things is what I have to do to track, and I use these things. Like, I went and I purchased a lot of more storage for my home to kind of just, make things a little bit more cohesive, but at the same time to also help me. Those things can be used as a potential tax reduction, deduction, or write-off because I'm using it for my business. Okay, so the next section we have is like shipment and fulfillment. So when it comes to shipment, Shopify helps me a whole lot. However, I do have to pay Shopify for the shipping label. All right. Now, I printed through my printer. I did have a shipping label printer, but I think during the move, when I got into the apartment, something spilled on it. I don't know what it was, but it just messed it up. So I haven't been able to use it, and it's still here. I don't even know why I have it anyway. You have postage that I have to pay for. Actually, I'm sorry. So the postage I pay through Shopify, and I have to pay for that. Not at the time that I buy the postage for you all's order, but at the end of the month, Shopify charges me $30 something for the website, and then any shipments I have for that month, they charge me the cost of those postage stamps, and then I have to pay for it. So like, just to put a number out there, I had to pay $80 something this month when for my GWL, and that's just for the website, and that's just for the postage. Okay, I also have to pay for a domain every year for the website. Okay, so that's $20. And that's through Squarespace, because when I first started my business in 2020, I was using Squarespace because it was something that I was familiar with, and later on I came to understand and taking a liking to Shopify. All right, so then we have shipment boxes and mailers. We have bubble wrap and tape. We have shipping software, and then we also have a mileage for local drop-offs. So one of the most important things is that I try to do as many drop-offs at one time that I can. And honestly, it has nothing to do with the mileage. Unfortunately, I feel like dropping packages off at this UPS store is so tedious to me. It's one of the tasks that I don't like doing. I don't know why. It's so simple. Put it in the box and take it to the UPS store. But somehow I wait. That's just one of the things that I procrastinate with. Like, and I'm so sorry, guys. It's something I have to work on, but it's horrible. I don't know why. I don't know if it's in my mind that I feel like, oh, one more thing I gotta do, one more place I gotta go, and I just don't feel like doing it. Okay, I'm sorry. I love to make the butters. I love to make y'all smile. I like the butter myself. I can't believe I make a butter that feel that good. I can't believe my skin be feeling the way it be feeling. I be in shocked. Like, I look at my face lately and I'm like, girl, you're doing just fine. Okay, everything is gonna be okay. All right, so that's that. So the next thing we can get into is YouTube and content creation. So as a YouTuber, and you're creating content is a business. If you create content on YouTube, if you create content on TikTok, if you create content on Instagram, Facebook, the fact that you are creating is a business. Now, once you get monetized, you're stepping into a whole nother game, and you could take it up a level. So however, with that being said, when it comes to YouTube and my content creation, I am tracking my cameras, my microphone, my lighting, my tripods, any SD cards that I have, editing software, Canva subscriptions, my backdrops, my props, you know, my studio decor for filming, all that I just spent on Amazon for these little things right here, because I done bought me some floating shells. They gonna be here tomorrow. All right, they coming in the mail. So I'm gonna have me some floating shells up here. And then I'm gonna have these little things. I have like this little fake plant. You heard? So then this gonna be drip. Y'all, it's gonna be dropping out like that. Yeah, look nice. And I'm gonna do it all by myself because I done got me a little power drill. And I'm gonna put that on there too. Okay, got me a little pink power drill that I done got. So that's gonna be nice. So all of those things that I'm using to, you know, create a more solidified space in what I'm doing is something that I can potentially use as a tax write-off, because this is what I need to be effective in creating content, especially now that YouTube is paying me. So when you see people on YouTube and they have these amazing software and these backdrops and all of these props and colors, and you just be like, oh, that is so fancy. Yeah, they do spend some good money, and guess what, they use it as a tax write-off later on in the year. Another thing, which we'll get into later, but then also my website hosting or domain fees, which for YouTube, I really don't have anything because it's not like I outsource you guys and tell you guys, oh, go to, what's it called? What's the place called where people be going over there to Patreon? Oh, go over there to Patreon, you know. And if I was a person who created content on Patreon, I would have to pay Patreon for me to be over there. However, I don't do that here on YouTube. And then the next thing I have is marketing and advertising. So this is mostly for GWL. So we have social media ads, which in 2025, I have not been investing a lot into my social media marketing or ads. I haven't really been doing that. I just been kind of putting in that groundwork of talking to people more about my products. And that's the part of the game that I just got so messed up. You know, I don't know, like, I guess I just need to grow out of this insecurity and having anxiety of talking to people about my business. It's like I always want to feel like, oh no, I don't want to say anything. I don't want nobody thinking that, you know. And it's just like, girl, you got bills to pay. You got a child to take care of. You don't need to be quiet. Closed mouths do not get fed. And you need to be talking about your business everywhere you go. Actually, you need to be walking around here with a Grown with Legends shirt on. GWL right here in the corner. Okay, and everywhere you go, you need to get your tags on your car to say GWL 2026 or something. Everywhere you go, they need to know you got a skincare business. Okay, that's what I'm telling myself, because I've been playing the game wrong. Shout out to Sister Jakira. Okay, anyway, so business cards and flyers, product photography. So one of the things is that in the past, I used to pay a photographer to take pictures for my products, paying her. One person I was paying too much, and then the other girl, I was doing like $250 a month, and she'll just like edit some like 5-6 photos and then do like a reel, which even then the stuff was like small dollars. And now I understand when I see the effort and the time it takes to go into editing videos and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, she really was giving me a good deal. But then she tried to make it my fault that she was giving me the good deal. Like, girl, I didn't ask you for this deal. You gave it to me. If you need to change the price, just say that. But she never said it. Anyway, so brand photo shoots. So one of the things in 2026 I want to do is a brand photo shoot, because I now have the mini jars of shea butter and I don't have those photos on the website. So I want to add those to the website, and I want it to be like, I want every photo of the product on the website to kind of be the same. I do like the way the website look because it gives it character. It doesn't look so plain Jane. But at the same time, I'm like, I do want to be more professional. And when you go on these websites, everything is on a white background. So I don't know. I'll think about it, because I kind of like the way the website look. I ain't going to hold you. I like the way it look over there. It look a little different. It look a little creative. It look like me. All right. And then any giveaways. So one thing I'm doing for my coworkers, because they're so kind to me and Legend, they know that I don't celebrate Christmas. However, they never forget to think about me. So sometimes they'll just give me a gift card, and it'll just be a regular gift card, no Christmas related stuff on it. My supervisor, she went to Disney, and she came back and got me a Trevera cup with Princess and the Fog kind of theme on it. It's so pretty. It's a nice cup, but she thought of me, and she was like, I was trying to make sure. And it's so funny, y'all, being in holiness, you got to have a sense of humor, because if you're so uptight and you just don't laugh, you're just not happy. And she says, so when she went to Florida and she brought me back the cup, she said, I had to think about, make sure it didn't have nothing Halloween related, or and it was just the thought. It was really, really the thought, and just how kind the gesture was. And then yesterday, it was so funny. My cousin texted me, and we have this continuous conversation going on in text message. And I just love it, because it's like, he'll respond to me today, and then I'll respond to him tomorrow, and then he'll respond to me the next day, and it's just continuing on and on. It's beautiful. However, yesterday he texted me and he said, Happy New Year. And then the next message said, sorry if you don't celebrate that. And I just thought that was just so funny, but also it was thoughtful, So with dealing with giveaways, the point that I'm making is that my coworkers are always thoughtful of me, and what I wanted to do is just give them a token of my appreciation. And I was going to give them a free jar of shea butter, the little mini ones. And many of them is so crazy. I've been working with these people for over 2.5 years now, and they were like, oh, congratulations on your business. And I'm like, yeah, I've had it since 2020. And they like, Like, girl, what? I've been working with you this whole time, and you the plug? I'm like, yeah. They were like, no wonder why your skin be glowing. I'm like, I know. But anyway, so I'm going to get them some shea butter. And any paid collaboration. So I have not paid for any collaborations, but I would like to if the money was there. Okay, if the money was there, and if you have influence. So I think I told you guys, we talked about influence before. It's a very known thing. It's not, I don't look at influence as popularity, because you could be popular and, not have any influence. Hi, Happy New Year. Thank you. You can be popular and not have any influence. Okay. So popularity and influence are two different things. And I would like to work with someone who has influence, because your influence can translate to sales. Your popularity translates to awareness. But if the awareness is not matched with sales, I don't need to get the awareness. I would rather get the influence, because your influence and people trust what you say, and they would want to work with you, or they would want to trust you and buy the products you got, or they would want to look like you. We don't want to talk about it, but that's a real thing. If I look at you and your hair is long and pretty, I'm going to buy your products for your hair, because your hair looks good, and I want my hair to look good too. Okay, so if you have glowing skin, I want my skin to look like yours. Who doesn't want clear, glowing skin? So it's all about having influence. So anyway, hey Stacy, I would love, Happy New Year. I would love to do some paid collaborations with people who have influence, not popularity. So the next thing you could consider, and I told you guys this video is going to be long, but it's the first video of the year, and it's very informative. All right, it's very informative. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I hope you subscribe to the channel. So we're on the next section. We're talking about education and professional services. So one of the things that you want to keep in mind is any business courses that you have taken in the year. So any point blank period, any business courses, any mentorships, anything. If you have a mentor, you are paying that person for their expertise. That could be considered a tax reduction because you are paying for a service and this person is providing you information, and you can also use that as a tax reduction on your end of the year taxes anyway. So then branding and marketing education. If you had to pay for any branding and marketing courses this year, you can use that. Skincare formulation and learning, anything you had to use towards that. Books related to a business, and then any accountant or tax prep fees. So obviously, me using a tax preparer in my life is easier than me sitting at this computer and trying to do it on my own. I'm just that type of girl. I will give her that $100 every single year. People say, oh my gosh, why would you pay her? You could do it yourself. I could, but I'm not. Okay? I'm not. You just don't know. Some days I don't even feel like to get up and put clothes on and take a shower. Do you really think I'm going to want to sit here at this computer and do my own taxes? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So any business consultations that you've had this year as well, and then those things of that nature. So then also any office or admin supplies. See how long I'm just going and going and going and going and going. You ain't got to be out here owing the IRS like that. So you can do your printer and ink. So I've already had my printer, but I buy ink often. So that can be considered a deduction. Paper that you use, notebooks and planners that you use, filing supplies, shipping paper, USB drives. Next, we got our banking and payment fees. So any business fees, any processing fees, and any platform transaction fees. All right. And then meals. Now, your meals are very, very, very limited unless you are a chef. Okay. And you get on YouTube and you be teaching the people how to cook. But don't be out here talking about, I had to buy my groceries this month and I need this as a, no. That's not what we doing over here. We ain't lying. We ain't trying to lie. So unless you are a chef, then you can use seasonings and pots and pans and all of the good things related to your business. Or if you had a YouTube channel where you cooked and you prepared food, or let's say you have a YouTube channel and you're a gardener, and all of the supplies you use to grow your garden this year, and you use your gardening as to monetize on YouTube, and everything that you do in your garden, you need it to grow, right? But then you're also using your YouTube channel to teach people how to garden. Let's say you were you had a lawn business or a landscaping business, and you go live on Facebook, or you go live on YouTube, or you go live on TikTok, and you are monetized. And you're just cutting your grass, but you're teaching other people how to cut their grass. And you have a lawn mowing company or landscaping company. Your lawnmower, your weed eater, your truck, your trailer, all of these things are a tax deduction for you. So these are things you can think about when you're out here. When you say, I don't know what to do. When you realize, yeah. When you realize, you'll be like, oh, let me do this and let me do that. Let me just start a business doing this. I don't even do it all the time, but I just do it once a month. That helps you. When people I ain't even gonna talk about that. Anyway, so you can do your business meals, can be partially deductible if they were business related. So let's say, for instance, perfect world, I'm working with a collaborator. I want to collab with someone, and I say, hey, let's go out to dinner and let's talk about this upcoming collaboration we're going to have, and it's on me. I could use that dinner as a tax deduction because we're at dinner talking about business, talking about us working together related to the business that I'm actually using the tax reduction for. Okay, so if I had GWL in the perfect world and I have a business credit card, I can say, hey, this influencer, let's go out to dinner. I could use my business credit card to pay for it, and then I could use that dinner as a tax reduction later. So therefore, you need to make sure that it's documented and it's not personal everyday eating. It has to be specific for one thing, and it should not be done all the time. And in that case, 50% of the cost of that meal would be a deductible. So if you are self-employed, you may be able to deduct half of your self-employment for your taxes and then deduct qualifying health insurance premiums. Now, I understand that many people in America, many of them don't have health insurance, which is really sad, especially when they work for themselves. But we want to just make sure that if you just have you like a little part-time job or something like that where you can't get health care benefits, that would be a benefit for you, so that way you don't have to worry about paying for your health insurance on your own. All right, so those are some of the things there. One of the things I mentioned earlier is that I pay rent, so therefore I have a expense and not a liability. All right, the only liability that I have in my life is my vehicle. Okay, so when you are paying a mortgage, it's considered a liability because you owe debt. All right. The home itself is an asset, but the home is the asset, but the mortgage is the loan, which means you owe. So you're paying a mortgage on a home, which is your asset, but then you owe the bank the mortgage. So your mortgage is a liability and not an expense, but you have an asset, which is your home. Okay? But rent is considered an expense because you pay money and never, like when you pay the money you pay and never get back, it's just something that's just out there, right? Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other, but in my case, I can use my rent as a tax deduction because it is an expense. So therefore, me running my business from my home, me working from home, me YouTubing from home, me hosting and doing all of these things for DoorDash here, these are my rent in itself. When I pay, is considered an expense for my tax deduction. So, you know, a liability is an obligation. So it's something that you owe and it sits on your balance sheet until it is paid off. Your mortgage is something that you borrow money from a lender and you made a promise to pay it back over time, and the unpaid balance is what still exists day by day. All right, and you're paying interest on that balance, just like me owning a car. And I have, well, me purchasing a car and I have a loan on my car. The same thing. There is not a difference. There isn't a difference. And in this economy, honestly, guys, I don't see the benefit in either one. Even Evangelist Taj has said this. So y'all going over there to his YouTube channel. But in this economy, I don't see the benefit in either one. Okay? Rent is expensive and mortgages are ridiculous. Okay. So right now it is not like, you know, back in the day, I feel like 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, many people would say that there was a benefit in being a homeowner. And though there is, it's ownership, right? It's ownership. But however, I am not here to put down someone who does not have a mortgage and they just pay rent, because at the end of the day, their rent can be considered an expense and that they can use that towards other tax reductions. And in this economy, does it really matter at this point? Does it really matter at this point? Like if I purchased a home and I would see, when I purchase a home, I don't want to have a vehicle loan. So I would love to pay off my vehicle in 2027. However, if I didn't, If I had a vehicle loan, I'm not gonna go get a mortgage too. That's just way too much for me. So at the end of the day, I don't, I don't feel like one is better than the other these days, especially like in this economy. Like if you bought your house years ago, then you're good. But if I went to go buy a house today, yeah. So, on paper, as I said, your house is an asset, but the mortgage loan is what the liability is against. And, even though you make a monthly payment, the loan itself doesn't disappear until it is paid off. So if you bought a $400,000 home, a $250,000 home, $150,000 home, child, where you buying $150,000 home at these days? Okay. The average single family home unit is $400,000 and up, especially in the area and where I live. So if I could just pay my little rent here and live within my means and just pay for my vehicle loan, I will do that. I would do that. At least if the toilet break, I could just call the maintenance people to come over here to fix it. I ain't got to worry about shoveling no snow. I ain't got to worry about cutting no grass. I ain't got to worry about putting no salt down. I don't got to worry about doing none of that. I don't even got to worry about calling a pool guy to come out here and clean the pool because I live here and they going to do it for me. If I want to go cook on the grill, I ain't got to worry about going to buy a grill to go do it. So for me, in my stage of my life, being a renter is working for me. However, if you have a mortgage and that works for you and you purchase your home at a good time, then perfect. That works for you. But for me, I don't see a benefit in being a single woman taking care of a home and having a whole home. I would rather pay my $100 light bill for my 1-bedroom apartment than to be sitting up here paying trying to heat a 2,000 square foot home with just me and my kid. That light bill gonna be $400. What I look like? It's only 2 of us. If I got a townhouse around the corner, that townhouse is already gonna be $350,000, $450,000. And then I have to heat that. I have to maintain that. Hey, Variah, I have to maintain that. That is expensive. And I'm learning that with my car. You can get it, but maintaining it is a totally different story. Yeah, you can buy it, but can you maintain it is the question. Okay, so I don't want to buy $450,000 worth of debt and can't maintain it. Okay, so that's not what I want to do. So like I said, rent is not a liability. You're not borrowing money. It's not counting against you. And then actually, when you're paying your rent, hey Jasmine, when you're paying your rent on time, that reflects very positive on your on your credit score, and it shows up as your on-time payments in good standing, just as if you were paying your mortgage and you were having on-time payments with your mortgage. So you're also getting that benefit. I don't know when that came about. I don't know if that's always been a thing. But when you're paying your rent on time, that too shows up on your credit report, and it shows that it shows up as on-time payments. So that one is good. So then every month you're not owing a balance on your rent. And then there's no long-term obligation when it's recorded as debt. So each rent payment covers 1 month of use and is completed once it's paid, and it leaves no remaining balance. And this is why rent is treated as a period expense and not a liability. Okay. I'm sorry you're feeling that way, Janabelle, but we could talk about it some more once I get through these notes for sure. I'm gonna do a mental health check-in with you guys. But I'm sharing, I just want to kind of get through the meat of the conversation. But I'm so sorry, sis. We're gonna talk about it, okay? Oh girl, bye. Okay, so moving. I hope I made you laugh. Oh girl, bye. Janabelle, please. please. I'm joking, sis. I love you. I know y'all. Girl, please. Oh my gosh. I hope I made you laugh, girl. And I'm talking junk, and I'll be a big girl. I wouldn't even be on this YouTube if I was going through that right now. I'd be like, bye y'all. See y'all when I feel like it. Y'all know how I do. You know how I do. So yeah, so your monthly payments versus the underlying structure and why this matters. So, people do get this is where people get tripped up. So mortgage payments include multiple components, all right? So when you have a mortgage, you have your principal, you have your interest, you have your property tax, and then you have your insurance. So your principal reduces the loan balance, which is the liability, and then your interest, the cost of borrowing, is an expense, and then your property tax is also an expense, and then your insurance is also an expense. So the loan itself, which is what I'm saying to you guys, the loan itself, when you have a mortgage, is considered a liability, and it is part of the payment, and part of the payments are considered a expense that make up the there are expenses that makes up your loan payment, but the actual loan payment itself is considered an overall liability because it is money that you owe to a borrower for purchasing your home. Okay. Rent is 100% a expense. Okay. So wherever you are in a stage of your life, now come on. If I had more than one child, if I had a husband, I would not want to, continuously live in an apartment or something like that. But if it works for my family, then that's what we gonna do, right? But where I am in my life, this is working for me. And I'm not making a silly decision by not owning a home, because I've had people, throw their little shots and shade at me for not being a homeowner and for being a renter. But when you pay rent, no equity is created, no asset is owned, and then no balance is reduced, and no value remains after the month. And these are the downsides that many people consider with renting. But this is the upside as what causes the rent to be an expense, because you don't have these things. Okay. So these are the things that people often look at and say, when you're having a conversation and you're having a conversation about owning a mortgage, or, having a mortgage and owning a home and having a mortgage on your home that you own, and then renting, these are the things that people say. Oh, well, you're not creating any equity. You don't have an asset. You're not owning anything, and then there's no value. Once you live in there, then there's no value in the apartment. But there is value in the apartment, because every time I pay my rent, I get another 30 days to live somewhere. Okay. So for me, that's important. I'm 30. If I went and got a 30-year mortgage, I'm going to be 60 before I pay it off. I don't know what I'm going to do, because where I work at and the way YouTube and GWL going, I don't know if I'm ever going to make that much money to pay off a home. So yeah, I got to do what works for me. Okay. So that's one of the things that I did want to share with you guys in regards to, just having a mindset and talking about business things. And, yeah, we talk about real life things. And, one of the most important things about personal growth is, understanding that at some point you do gotta keep growing and having an understanding about things. And I remember moving into my place, and I asked the Lord to teach me how to handle small sums and large sums of money. And immediately after I prayed that prayer, I started going through a lot of financial literacy things in real life experiences that really humbled me. So now where I am, I have a whole different understanding of, saving money and understanding how to treat money. because your relationship with money is very, very important, and how you treat money is how it's going to treat you. So, the reason why I wanted to share this is because, the matters of finances and our mindset, it really helps to have a distinction in when you're making these decisions in your life. So once again, if you have a family, or if you have a family, or if you're a mom to multiple children, then it will make sense to have a mortgage, right? If you That's just the way it is. But if you're single, or and you don't have, especially if you don't have kids, I would not recommend jumping into a mortgage, because for one, you don't know um what the Lord has for you. And imagine you get a mortgage and then you meet the love of your life, and now you want to move to where they are. Now you got to worry about selling your home, or what are you going to do? So it becomes a burden if you're single. But if you're settled and you have a foundation and you are a woman, then that will make sense to just get a mortgage. But if you're single, it makes sense to just rent for now. It's easier for the most part, right? So that was pretty much it, guys. Overall, that is it. I did want to say this. So in closing, I want you to understand how the IRS sees you. So because I do DoorDash, they see me as an independent contractor. Because I am monetized on YouTube, they see me as a self-employed creator. Because I own Growing with Legend as an LLC and has a tax EIN number, they see me as a self-employed business. And all of these are filed under Schedule C. So this is something where when you're filing your taxes and you qualify for these things, you have a profit and a loss from a business. So obviously your profits are going to include your sales and what people have paid you and what you've earned through your business. However, all of the things that I just shared to you about, we just went through a whole list. We've been on here for an hour and 10 minutes. So everything that I just shared with you, those things are considered losses. So now we have to do a checks and balance. You earned, let's say for the year of 2025, let's say I earned $3,000 with Growing with Legend. Well, if I earned $3,000, how much did I spend in running Growing with Legend? If I spent $6, but I earned $3, I'm at a loss. So that is something that your tax preparer will do for you. Now, the lies comes in where people be saying, oh, because you can't lie, right? You can't finesse how much you earned, right? So people will say like, oh, I earned $3,000 with Growing with Legend, but I actually spent $10,000 to run it. Now stop lying. It ain't taking no 10 grand to run that business. You ain't been shipping like that. Okay. So that's when people say don't be lying on your taxes. That's what they mean. Another thing, like I said in closing, is that when you don't have receipts, but you're creating all of this profit loss, you need to have a track record of every single thing you spent. And you need to have it laid out. So if you had to buy new equipment, if you bought a new computer, if you bought I don't know, if you a fitness trainer and you had to get you some new outfits, you could use that. You need to save all of your receipts. And you need to have proof of everything that you've done. I don't know. I don't know about the fitness trainer outfit thing. I guess if you did a photo shoot, I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay. And there's resources out there. There's people within our church organization that teaches us how to do these things. Evangelist Taj, when I first moved into my apartment, I scheduled a consultation with him and we went through my finances. And the beautiful thing about it is that he made me, before I sat down with that man, he made me go through 3 months of my bank statement, and I had to sit down and I looked at every dollar that I spent in 3 months. And I said, dang, girl, you love a Sam's Club. Girl, you love to be at the grocery store. you stay up in there. And that's when I realized I need to scale back. I spend a lot of money on things that I can't see. You know, it's a different thing when, let's say, for instance, you have someone and they love fashion, they love shopping. Well, that's something they can physically see. You know, they see the increase creating around them. But then if you're a person who be buying food or snacks and stuff, it's like, child, please, you don't even see your money. You be eating it. Then you wonder why your back big. Girl, then you ain't even got it. And then you ain't got a gym membership. Child, please. Your baby is 5 and your stomach look like you 3 months pregnant. Okay. You need to stay away from Sam's Club, Elvira. And I was like, yeah, you right. Okay. Sometimes talking to yourself like that does work. All right. So that's it, y'all. I got to go out here and go make some money because I got to go make some money. I do. I really do. Okay. And I ain't even mad about it. I am not even mad about it. I'm just like, well, you know, we'll figure it out. You know, I called the people. They said you get 14 days. They said you get a 14-day grace period. I was like, okay. I'm about to go ahead and do some DoorDash, and I'll see y'all back in 14 days. And on the 13th day, if I ain't got it, I'm just going to ask for y'all to say, can I skip a payment? I done paid y'all on time for 2 years, going on 3. Okay, let me get a break. Gosh. You know, so you got to do what you got to do out here. Sometimes I just ain't got it. Sometimes I just don't. Sometimes I wanted to get sometimes I just wanted to buy something else this month. I didn't want to pay my bills this month. I just wanted to buy something. I didn't want to be responsible. I get tired of it. I ain't got nothing to show for it. It's like I got my beautiful apartment. Anyway, guys, I am going to go. So let's do a quick mental health check-in. After that very fruitful conversation, let's do the mental health check-in. So everybody let me know how we feeling. 0 for bad. And then let's just keep it real simple. 0 for bad and 5 for the peak. So I am at a 5. I would say I'm at a 5 today, or maybe a 4.5. But I'm not anxious. I'm good. Talking to y'all made me feel good. It's the first day of the year. I'm gonna go out here and do some DoorDash, maybe for the rest of the evening. I had a really great time. I'm in a good mental space. I spoke with my therapist yesterday. We had a really good conversation. I'm learning more about my son every day. Relationships are going good. So I'm just in a really, really healthy place, happy place. And, you know, sometimes when I'm here, I just want to be here. You know, I don't want to worry about the things that I can't change. And when I am here, you know, I know that the other side is coming any day or any moment. So I try to just enjoy the moment for what it is. So I want you guys to tell me how you guys are feeling. Sister Stacy says, I'm feeling a lot better, was dealing with a virus. So she's at a 4. Girl, a lot of people are sick. So make sure you stay masked up, okay? Get your some hand sanitizer, keep it in your bag. But I am so glad you're feeling healthy. Get you some lemon balm tea. And well, girl, you old enough to be my mommy. You probably telling me, girl, look, girl, I know what to do. But look, you know, I hope one of your children come over there and bring you some tea or something, or look out for you. So I hope somebody over there taking care of you, Stacy. Jasmine says she's at a 5 and she put a happy emoji. I'm happy to hear that, Jasmine. I'm so happy. I need to follow up with you to see how your business is going and see where you're at right now. I really want to make a habit of kind of like checking in with you guys individually and just seeing how you guys are dealing with things. Okay, she said, I would say I'm at a 6 today. Good, girl. You had us up here about to send out the recruits send out the troops to make sure our sister Janabelle good. But I'm glad you're at a 6. I'm glad you're at a 6. But emotions, girl, them emotions don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care about us. And I ain't talking Michael Jackson. So Stacy says, I'm glad you're doing well, my dear sisters. Praise God. Shouldn't we all? You said, thank you so much. And yes, I appreciate you in being taken care of. Amen. I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are. We all we got. We are all we have. So guys, that's all I got today. I hope this video was fruitful. I hope I provided you guys with some good information. Once again, I am not an expert. I'm just someone who's living life, trying to make it day by day. And I just learned things over the years, over the years of doing things and working with people who are well versed in these areas. So I love y'all so much. I really do. And I don't know when I'm gonna go live again. I'll probably go live over the weekend. Off today, then work tomorrow. So we'll see. Legend is with his daddy. Legend is with his father and his big brother. So Legend has a big brother, and he had been telling me for a few times. He said he misses his brother. He wants to see his brother. He misses his brother, and his dad called him and told him, you want to come over here with us? And he said, yep. Child, he saw his big brother. He dogged him out, jumped out the car. And then I called him this morning to check on him, and then he gave me an update. It was like, okay, I'm done talking to you. I said, okay. So anyway, bye, y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank you all for Legend's birthday wishes and sharing his video. He had a really good day. He told me he did, but he did. He a brat. We working on it. Okay? We working on it. All right, y'all. I love y'all. And until next time, bye. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was pretty fruitful. Bye-bye.